Hello there, Kyle Katarn here, coming back with another Star Wars fan film reaction. This is another request, and it's called Star Wars Heir to the Empire fan trailer by Jar Jar Jargon. Okay, well, we're gonna see what this fan film is all about, okie day. We have a description. It says, Star Wars Heir to the Empire is one of, if not the most popular story from the Star Wars Expanded Universe. It's the first one that I read. Brought to us by author Timothy Zahn, myself and others have long dreamed of seeing this story and others from the EU adapted into a visual medium. This trailer was simply made to showcase what could be possible for the future of the Expanded Universe, otherwise known as Legends. I like that. It was directed by Jar Jar Jargon, animation was done by Cage, and Jar Jar Jargon also did the sound design and mixing. And the music, it was done by Daniel Kurlitza. Well, the fact that this has been animated, I'm very excited. I love me a good animated fan film. Everyone seems to be using CGI these days and like pre-rendered models, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think they look awesome. But I've always had a soft spot for actual 2D animation, so I'm looking forward to this. Without further ado, Heir to the Empire. Let's do it!
That place.
Nice. Oh, this looks good.
With the dark side of the Force. And you must go.
Oh, this is fantastic. I wonder how long this took. Mount Tantus. Nice, they styled it the same way as Bad Batch, too. Joris Kaboeth.
What? No.
There she is. Hell yes. The Emperor's hand. The legend continues.
You don't even know who I am, do you, Skywalker? You destroyed my life.
Awesome. Yeah, that gave me a chill, actually. This was really awesome. I really liked the animation style, but just like the concept of Legends coming to the screen visually is that would be so amazing. That would if they ever actually went and made the Zahn trilogy into films, I think it would just be a very emotional experience for me watching them, because Heir to the Empire was the very first Legends novel that I ever read. And for the longest time, you know, the films ended with Return of the Jedi, and there was no real future in mind for those of us that were fans in the 90s. Like that was it, you know. Star Wars was done in the theaters, and now the story lived on in novels and video games and like audio books and all kinds of different avenues outside of the films. But like, it was kind of like they shut that door. Return of the Jedi, the Empire's gone, they destroyed the Death Star, and that's it. And then all of a sudden, you know, Timothy Zahn drops Heir to the Empire, and that was 7, 8, and 9. For a lot of people, it was those three books. That was the next trilogy of story. And it opened the door for me for all of the following Legends novels. Like, I loved Kevin J. Anderson's Jedi Academy trilogy is up there with one of my favorites. I am in the camp of people that really enjoyed the New Jedi Order. I thought the Yuuzhan Vong are a really cool, different take on a bad guy, and like a cool way to create an obstacle for Grandmaster Luke Skywalker, who's like the most powerful Jedi in the galaxy. But these are all stories that were very, very rich and would be amazing to see on the big screen. It would be a tough challenge trying to sift through which stories really link up with other ones, because Legends had a lot of continuity problems, and there were a lot of books stepping on each other's toes. Things were getting retconned left and right. So changes would have to be made to the stories just for the sake of the subsequent stories, you know? That's just how that would have to work, because the Lucasfilm story group kind of exists to make sure that continuity in current canon has a really good flow to it, and they make mistakes. There have been several issues in the last few years, namely with the Ahsoka novel by E.K. Johnston, Canon the Last Padawan comic being retconned by Bad Batch, etc. But that is but a taste of how it was in the old days. In the Expanded Universe, there was all kinds of retcons happening constantly. George Lucas had a level of approval over the novels, but I am of the opinion that he did not read every single Star Wars novel, and he was not that, like, hands-on with it. He was just sort of like, yeah, okay, approved. That's not too outlandish. You can go with that. But, for example, he feels no ownership over Mara Jade. He did not create Mara Jade, and that is a product of the Expanded Universe, and he feels separate from that to an extent, and always kind of did, you know? Speaking of continuity, I thought it was a really cool decision in the animation here to borrow from the new canon to sort of flesh out the visual elements of Heir to the Empire. I noticed that Leia was wielding the same saber here that she wielded in Rise of Skywalker, for example. I thought that was like a cool way to merge the continuity together in a way. There were little nods like that. Joris C'baoth would have been amazing to see on the screen, honestly. He was one of my favorite characters in the Zahn trilogy. My theory is that Ray Stevenson, playing Balin Skull, was supposed to be the new C'baoth. He was going to fill that role alongside Thrawn after developing his power on his journey in Peridia. And now who knows what's going to happen with him, if the character will be written off or recast, or if they're going to do something new with it. But that was kind of my suspicion watching the Ahsoka series that came out last year, was that Balin was going to take that role and stand alongside Thrawn for a new canon iteration of Heir to the Empire, which is what was going to go down in Dave Filoni's movie. And it would be totally different, totally changed, but borrowing heavily from those original novels from Zahn, because he is of the same generation that was Star Wars fans when those books came out. And that, like I was saying, that was everyone's 7, 8, and 9. And if you were a Star Wars fan in that time period, there's no way that you didn't read those books and have it be a formative part of your understanding of Star Wars and what happened next. And like, I'm someone that, like, I enjoy the sequels. I think that they're fine movies. I don't have the same level of emotional connection to the sequel trilogy that I have to the expanded universe books and those stories. But that is all rooted in nostalgia primarily, because I was going through my formative years when I read those stories, you know, and that has a lot to do with it. And there are kids that are now the age that I was back then, going through their formative years, watching the sequels, and it's resonating with them on that same level. And so, even though it doesn't hit the mark emotionally for me in the same way as Legends, I know that it does for the next generation of fans, and I think that's awesome. And I don't want to take anything away from that. I would love to see the expanded universe brought to the screen, and I do appreciate the small ways that Canon tries to incorporate that. Like Ahsoka says in Rebels, right? There's always a little bit of truth in Legends. And I think that's great. It's a great way to spin it. Yeah. Fantastic job. This was a great fan film. I really liked it, and I hope that we get some more from Jar Jar Jargon. Give me some more animations, man. I will react to all of them. You're really talented. I'm over here on Jar Jar's channel right now, and I'm noticing that he only has 2.6 thousand subscribers. So make sure you follow the link in the description of the video to the original animation. Say something nice about his work and encourage him to make some more, because this is some great stuff right here. Awesome. Well, thanks for recommending this one to me. I really enjoyed it. It was nice to go down memory lane thinking about the expanded universe. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed my reaction to this fan film. Check out the rest of the channel for more content, reactions, and reviews. Leave me a comment if you have a question or something to say, or if you have a Star Wars fan film to recommend to me. I'm trying to react to every Star Wars fan film ever made. To that end, you'll find a link in the description of the video to the Kyle Katarn Discord server, which is a great place to send me those links. And if you want to support the channel, head over to patreon.com/KyleKatarnChannel. Supporting the channel on Patreon gives you access to full-length reactions, early access, content polls, and a couple of Discord perks as well. Thanks again, and as always, may the Force be with you.